All right, hi, my name is Robin Sue. This is my speech too, and I have my friend Luke here and his mom and his dad. Okay. Introduction. What was D-Day? On the morning of June 6, 1944, more than 150,000 Allied soldiers crossed the English Channel and landed on the beaches of Nazi-occupied France. This day became known as D-Day. It was the largest amphibious military invasion in history, and it completely changed the direction of World War II. Understanding D-Day matters because it played a major role in defeating Nazi Germany and shaping the modern world we live in today. According to the U.S. Army Center of Military History, this invasion marked the beginning of the end of German control in Western Europe. So, the plan Operation Overlord. D-Day was part of a much larger plan called Operation Overlord. The goal was to invade German-occupied France and open a new front in Western Europe. Allied forces from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other countries worked together in a way that had never been done before. Historian John Keegan explains that this level of coordination across multiple nations was unprecedented in military history. The invasion targeted five beaches in Normandy, including Omaha and Utah, which were heavily defended by German forces, excuse me. The reality, challenges and casualties. Even though the invasion was carefully planned, the reality was chaotic and deadly. German troops had machine guns, bunkers, mines, and barbed wire set up along the beaches. According to National World War II Museum, Omaha Beach was especially dangerous and resulted in high number of American casualties. On top of that, bad weather caused rough seas, which led many soldiers to land in the wrong locations. Historian Anthony Beaver notes that confusion and poor visibility made the first hours of the invasion extremely costly. The breakthrough, securing the beaches. Despite overwhelming resistance, Allied soldiers continued pushing forward. By the end of the day, they had secured all five beaches. According to military historians, this success was due to determination, leadership, and soldiers refusing to retreat under fire. Stephen Ambrose explains that once the beaches were secured, Allied forces were able to bring in more troops, equipment, and supplies, which allowed them to move inland and begin liberating France. Why D-Day mattered. D-Day mattered because it opened a Western front against Nazi Germany. According to historian Richard Overy, this forced Germany to fight on multiple fronts at the same time, which weakened their overall military strength. Within 2 months, Paris was liberated. In less than a year, the war in Europe ended. Many historians agree that without D-Day, the war would have lasted much longer and cost many more lives. Okay, in conclusion, D-Day was more than just a military operation. It was a moment of courage, sacrifice, and international cooperation. It required thousands of ordinary people to do something extraordinary. By learning about D-Day, we better understand the cost of freedom and why this moment in history still matters today. Remembering D-Day helps us honor those who risked everything to change the course of history. And that is my presentation. So, who has Ms. Leslie, you want to give me a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Like this, I don't really remember a lot from history growing up in the 1970s and 80s, but this is certainly one of the historical points I do remember. Chris probably remembers every single point, but not me. But was this something that you felt like just growing up in KD, going through the school system, you already kind of had a pretty good handle on?
Yeah, I mean for sure. I think so your question what sorry. Your question was, did this growing up in Katy, did it help me retain some knowledge doing this
Yeah,
presentation? Okay,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, for sure it did. I mean, Katy, we have a great, school system here. So when I was, doing my research and looking it up, I definitely could recall some of the things I learned back in high school and, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Lucalis, what is your question?
My question is, why did you choose D-Day over like any of the other wars?
So your question is why I chose D-Day over any other wars?
Yeah.
Just because I thought D-Day, I honestly just got done watching Hacksaw Ridge, which is my favorite movie of all time. So I was like, why not choose like I was gonna do, Hacksaw Ridge, but I feel like D-Day has a more impactful historical, moment than Hacksaw Ridge did. And yeah, that's kind of why I chose it. My boy
Good.
Topher, what's the
Hey,
question?
so you said about 150,000 were involved in the invasion. Did you come across or do you remember, was there any note on that you recall on the number of casualties, deaths suffered by the US armed forces?
So your question is, did I come across how many casualties the US forces have?
Yeah.
I did not, to be honest, but that is a really good question that I should definitely look into and, do more research on it. But yeah, I did not look into that, but I probably should. I just figured that 150,000 did cross casualty wise. I didn't really look into too much of that, but yeah, that was a good question.
And I just remember D-Day is, always brought up in American history, and that type of thing. It wasn't until I don't know, several years ago that I realized how many of the allied countries were actually involved, and it wasn't just a US invasion, it was uh the different countries, allied forces invaded different island beaches at that time. So it's pretty incredible the coordination that
Yeah.
went on and the secrecy that they had to keep
Mhm.
uh to prevent the Germans from knowing what we were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it.
Robin.
Well done.
Good job.
All right.